Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hello, everybody, all the Marvelous Moms Club listeners. Today is a really great day because I'm talking to Tracy Layne of Tracy Layne Photography. And she not only is an amazing photographer, but she's quite a marvelous mom. And I've watched her. We went to high school together. And thanks to social media, I've been able to watch her become a mother. And she's had a really, really special journey to her mothering role. So without further ado, this is Tracy. Say hello.
Hello.
So you have 3 kids. Tell us about your kids.
I do. I have 3. I have Oliver, who's 6, Sophie is 4, and Chloe is 11 months old.
So we
10
are...
months old. Oh my gosh. We do not want to add an extra month.
Don't
10.
Speed that up any faster.
10.
I'm doing the same thing with Felicity. I'm like, she's 21 months? Oh, no, 20. It gets harder after 12 to keep track.
Killing me.
So we've had kids about the same time, which has been really fun. And I think that's why it's been interesting to watch your journey unfold alongside mine. And just, it's really been awesome. And we've talked a little bit here and there about how crazy it is and how overwhelming it is.
Yep.
But your journey to become a mom is very different from mine. So tell us a little bit about how many years it took you to finally get Oliver and how he came to be.
Okay. So this is a hard thing for me to get through without crying. Can we cry on
You
podcasts?
can totally cry. I
that
welcome
happens pretty much every time I talk about Oliver.
That's good.
So we had been trying to get pregnant for 3 years. And so it's funny, we had gone through 2 failed rounds of IVF, actually 1.5. Like our first round, we started going through the process and we were about halfway through. It takes about 3 months to get through one cycle of IVF. So we were about halfway through, which is, you're into medications and daily injections and all that. Yeah. And they canceled us halfway through because they found what our problem was. They didn't know before, and it was a genetic defect, and it was severe enough that they were like, we don't dare proceed until we know more about it. So they canceled us, which just felt like a failure. Next round, we did it again. We did the most complex, expensive, unbelievable round of IVF, just really complex things, but we were really hopeful. And that failed too. Wow. We actually didn't even get to implant any embryos because all of our embryos, they tested for the genetic defect and they all had it.
Oh my gosh.
So that one didn't work either. So round 3, we're trying again, and they have one more little, different thing that they could try that they were doing. And halfway through, we get a call from my brother that he's met this girl and gotten to be friends with her, and she's pregnant and is wanting to place her baby for adoption. And he says, well, would you want to talk to my sister maybe? And she said, yeah, sure. Anyway, so long story short, we end up talking to her, and, we had kind of other options to adopt, but nothing ever that made me feel like that was the right thing. And with her, it's just such a cliche that people say with adoption that you just know when it's the right time, it's the right one. And I knew for sure that baby was mine. And John was a little nervous. He's like, well, what if this IVF works? What if we're pregnant? I'm like, I don't care. I want him. He is my baby. I want him, And so we kind of proceeded with things, and our IVF failed, and Ollie came.
Wow. See, I'm already crying.
We're thinking about that picture. I
know
what picture you're thinking about.
I'm going to share it. Everybody else has to have a ball fest while they're listening to this.
Yeah, it is my favorite. It is not a pretty picture, but my gosh, I've seen it thousands of times, and it still makes me cry.
It should be printed and hung in your house somewhere. It seriously should.
No. You don't need to cry every day.
That's
true.
It
was, he's our absolute miracle boy.
I love it. And yeah, seriously, that regarding the picture, just seeing that moment, and that I think all of us feel that way in one form or another when we give birth to our first child, or they're handed over to us. It's indescribable, and to see that your emotion in your face completely captured every emotion of early motherhood. So it's completely awesome. So then 2 more girls later, how did that happen?
2 girls later. So, this is something super personal. And I actually talked to my husband to see, I'm like, I'm doing this interview. How how much should I, open up? And he's like, be really open, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Our problem was my husband had a genetic thing. So it was him that, like, he has plenty of sperm, but they don't develop enough that they can swim. Mm-hmm. And they had told us after that last failed round, they're like, there's just nothing else we can do for you. There's nothing else that can be done. This just isn't going to happen. And they had told us, you could consider using a sperm donor. Mm-hmm. And we both went, no.
Yeah.
We said, that is so weird. No. This was after our second round, actually, that they told us that option. And we just said, no, we're just going to keep trying this. It's going to work,
Yeah.
We'll get our babies here. And, we had Oliver, and it changed something inside of us both immediately. And we realized that the DNA did not matter one tiny bit. Oliver has none of our DNA, and we just could not possibly love him more. Mm-hmm. And so after, when Oliver was 1 and we wanted more kids, and it was actually John that came to me and said, do you want to try and get pregnant? And, because as far as we knew, I was fine and I would be able to have kids fine. But that was a sensitive thing for him. I had really gotten over it, and he seemed to too, but I was never going to push that on him. Mm-hmm. And it was him. And he said, I want you to get pregnant. Let's get our kids here. And, so kind of what it's turned into for us is it's about getting a body here so our little kids' spirits can get to us. So, so we have the same donor. It's literally just a donor bank. Wow. You find, we pick a description of someone that is fitting of John, and and thankfully for us, I get pregnant easily.
That's so great.
So that's how we got our girls here, and we just couldn't be happier.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I didn't know that part of the story, so I'm like blown away. I'm so impressed with you guys.
Like TMI, but it's just
not at all.
We thought about it, and we were like, and what we'd come to find after we did it is that way more people do those things, egg donor and sperm donor, way more people than you would ever know.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people are really private about it because it's kind of a different thing.
Right.
And I was like, man, if one girl hears that how happy we are, that we would never change it, and we just are as happy as we could possibly be, even if they were all genetically ours. We just couldn't be happier. We couldn't be happier.
I think it's so cool that you came to that revelation too through adopting and realizing it's not about the genetics. It's about the love, and it's about knowing that little spirit was meant to be yours. And I love that concept. We just needed little bodies for our spirits to come, and we just needed to get our babies here. So that is so cool. And I think it's great they had the same donor too, because
everything's
that's
the
awesome.
Same.
It's actually, they look a lot alike.
They do. It's funny. Everyone thinks Chloe looks just like Oliver, which is funny. Like, because a lot of people don't know that Oliver's adopted because he looks exactly like John, my husband.
He does, yeah.
So his mannerisms are the same. I mean, he's crazy. I don't know how on earth this happened, but my gosh. I guess Heavenly Father was really looking out for us, because you would just never in a million years guess that he wasn't biologically ours.
Yeah.
And so everyone thinks Chloe looks just like him, and it's just fun. Things like that are fun when people say that, and I just go, yep, I know,
Yeah, they do. They look a lot alike. They got a lot of the same characteristics.
They sure do.
That is so cool. Okay, so now you're a mom of 3, which has happened not super quickly, but rather quickly. You've been tossed in after waiting 3 years, and now you've got these 3 beautiful kids. And on top of that, you run a very successful photography business. How long ago did you start that?
So my photography business has started, oh gosh, it's hard to pick a day. I mean, you've been there. It's like you start taking pictures, eventually you dare to charge somebody an obscenely low amount of money to do it. Yep. I don't know if you draw the line there. I would say I've been in official business for 6 or 7 years.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So how has that been, since you kind of had that going about the same time you became a mom? I mean, your work is absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
you're one of those people, like, she appears on the scene and you're like, how is she already so professional? She's amazing.
Oh, you're so nice. It's so hard. It's so hard. I am constantly struggling and trying to figure out how on earth I can do better at doing both,
Yeah.
The way I've run it so far is, I mean, I'm a full-time mom and, depending on the season, a part-time or full-time photographer. And gosh, it's really been hard. And, sometimes I just grit it out and do it all myself. And what suffers is my house. And we
Yeah.
were talking about that when I called. My house is really messy. And that's just the way it is,
Yep.
And then sometimes I've had a babysitter help or a nanny, and I just hired a nanny yesterday. So we'll start her like 2 half days a week to help me have time. What I've found is that what helps me the most to feel more sane and feel like I'm really handling my family and my business is to separate them. And it's so hard to do. Man, it's hard to separate.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will help. A nanny, two set days a week, it's 4 hours of time each time. So I can really just dedicate that time during the day to getting things done in my business world, and then I can come out and be 100% mom and not be distracted. And not that I still won't be, because heaven knows I will, but it will help.
Yeah.
So we're working on it still.
That's so great. I need to get me one of those. All the girls that I love are in high school still, so I just need to find me someone older that wouldn't mind putting up with the crazies for a couple days a week.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, you balance it very well from the outside looking in. I know that it always seems like it's perfect from the outside, but I think that, and you know what? The thing that's really great too is you're not a wedding photographer.
No.
That's not the top of your trade. You're a family photographer, which you're out there more. It's not like a one day a week thing. It's during busy season, you're going to be out there every single day or multiple times a day. And that's a huge responsibility, but I think it's cool too that you do families, because I see that you are probably drawn to that genre because you have such a passion for your family, and it's beautiful. I think that comes out in all of your work, which is awesome.
That's exactly the whole basis of why I do that, is because that's what I'm drawn to. That's what I feel comfortable with. I'm not a real serious kind of person. I'm pretty immature and goofy, and so I relate to kids. I love the craziness and unpredictability of kids. And a lot of wedding photographers be like, I hate the craziness and unpredictability of kids, which I totally understand. But for me, that's where I feel comfortable. And weddings are hard for me because they take up my weekends, and my whole Saturdays are spent shooting weddings. And I lose a whole entire Saturday with my family.
Yeah.
With my family work, they're 1 hour sessions, essentially, most of them, between 1 and 2 hours. And then I get to come back home most of the time. So it works out well for our family and for me, and it's fulfilling. And so I love that.
And it's fun to get out there and still feel like an individual too. That's what I love about
my
photography business, is I get to meet people that I wouldn't have normally met. I get to have grown-up conversations, even though there's lots of kids running around usually. It's still fun and very, very fulfilling. Yeah.
One of the things I really love the most about it is, honestly, is because I work so much with kids and I see everything. I see every kind of kid and personality. It's fun for me when a kid is seemingly uncooperative and mom is stressing out, and I can see it and I can diffuse it so quickly and explain to them that this is normal and it's not bothering me. And I make sure to push that on them, that it doesn't bother me if your kid's not doing what I say or looking at the camera. Like, we're going to work around your kid. And it's really fun for me to see the mom calm down and be like, okay, it's going to be fine. And then it turns out great. I mean, not that every session's perfect, but I have pretty few complaints, and it's really fun to help moms to embrace what their kids are, and if their personality is wild and crazy or shy, and to just embrace what is and let the pictures be real and not what we wish they would be, what they really are. I love that.
I totally agree with you there. And do you find that has helped you be a better mom too, because you're seeing, I'm not the only one with kids who don't listen to me?
You would think it would soak into me better since I deal with it almost on the daily. But I'm just a regular mom like everybody else, and I get frustrated when I get my kids' pictures done or my family pictures done. I totally stress out about that stuff. Like, stop being insane. Just listen to the lady,
Yeah.
But it does help. I can remind myself and calm down and be like, this is what it is. And this is, they're being themselves and I wouldn't want them any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a nanny coming on, but besides that, what are some of your other secret weapons or ways that you found to balance and that have made you feel like you weren't losing your mind?
Yeah. I think the nanny will help quite a bit. Like I said, separating, but I've thought about this question a lot. And the most honest answer I have is that there is no secret weapon. There isn't one. For a long time, and when I was a newer photographer, but busy enough that I was struggling with the balancing, and I would talk to or hear from more experienced girls how they were doing it. And what they would always say is something has to give. These professionals would tell me that their lives aren't perfect, that they're not managing everything perfect, that they feel frustrated and they feel lost. And what I would truly think is, you're full of crap. You totally have it all together. I know you do. You're a professional and I can see it,
Yeah.
And I feel like now I'm in that spot and some girls are looking to me for those kind of answers. And I'm like, oh, come to my house when I'm not expecting you. And I will show you how I'm balancing it all. I have a really messy house. That's just kind of like, that's the thing for me that falls. My kids come first. My husband comes first. My work comes next. And the house kind of comes last. And it's, we don't live in a terrible home, but it's not as neatly kept as I'd like. And I'm kind of just okay with that. And that's the thing that's helped me the most, is to be okay with it. And I talk to my husband a lot about it, because I always worry. I'm like, are you just dying that, you don't have great dinners and you don't have a really clean house and you have piles of laundry everywhere? And, he just kind of agrees with me that this is just kind of the phase of life that we're in. Yeah. And it won't always be like this. You know, someday all my kids will be in school and I'll have probably a little cleaner house, or I'll have more, or I'll have more business and it'll be the same. And then when we're old and our kids are all gone, then we can have a super clean house. And
there you go.
So I really think the thing that's helped me the most is to just be all right with it.
Yeah.
Just be fine with it not all being together, and know that pretty much every other mom in your spot is not having it all together too. They just might have it not together in a different way than you. But
yeah, good perspective.
We're all trying.
I know we are. So do you ever have time to do anything else for yourself besides run this crazy business and be a mommy? Like, do you have any time to read? Are you reading anything that you recommend?
I wish I did. Sadly, I am not a reader at all. And man, I wish I was, because I'm sure I'd be a smarter, better person if I was.
Oh my gosh,
but
you're in the thick of it.
I don't have a ton of extra time. I don't really read much, and I don't watch a lot of TV. I do love to watch Food Network, which is funny because I'm the worst cook ever. Ask my husband. What he got me for Christmas was a couples cooking class, which is actually tonight, and I'm so excited.
Awesome.
And my mom got me a subscription to Blue Apron Dinners, which is like they prep the dinner for you essentially, and then you cook it at home. They give you the recipe.
Awesome.
So I'm a terrible cook, but if I want to unwind, I watch Food Network.
Just to get inspired on what you could be.
That's what I like. But really, honestly, I feel like a lot of my me time is my business, because I love it, And I opened up the new studio a few weeks ago, which is literally my dream studio, something I fantasized about for years, but I truly never thought I would actually do it or be in a studio like that. So I feel like that's my me time. Like even if I just go clean that place and I sit in there by myself and look around at what I've been able to build, and that's my me time. It makes me feel so happy and peaceful and excited and proud, and the business helps support our family, but it makes me really happy. I love doing it. And so I feel like that's really kind of my me time.
No, that's totally true. That's very important. And I think
shopping,
of course.
Shopping's fun. I do like that.
Well, you're working really hard for the money, so you might as well have fun spending
Gotta
it too.
have a little bit for fun. Yeah.
Well, I love that you said that too, because I think it's super important for moms, even when we're in the thick of it doing this. It might feel sometimes like it's not worth it, or, we're spreading ourselves too thin. But I think holding on to those dreams of our own and becoming better ourselves is just overall going to make us better parents. And maybe it makes us a little bit more stressed out some days and we're a little more irritable, but at the end of like the week or the month or the year, you're going to look back and be like, I did all of that and I did it pretty dang good. You know, I
We're
did
all
a great
alive
job.
and well.
Yeah.
Yep.
My kids still love me. It's great.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree. I never planned on being a working mom.
Me neither.
You know, growing up, I always planned on being a stay-at-home mom. And you know what's funny? Because my mom worked. She worked like more part-time-ish thing. I mean, my memories of, you know, growing up little is I do remember going to a babysitter a bit, but what I remember most is I remember my mom being there. I don't ever remember a time when I needed my mom and I didn't have her.
Yeah.
And she was working, I think, just about like I am, or more even. Yeah. And, you know, as I started working and I really struggled with guilt and feeling like, is this, you know, because when you're starting out, you don't make money. Mm-hmm. You lose money, if anything. It's just time. And so I felt really bad about, you know, losing time with my kids and working, and do I want to be a working mom, you know, and I struggled with it for a long time, and I still do to this day. But I come back to my own childhood a lot to remind me that, man, I had a great childhood and I have the best relationship with my mom, and I feel like she did everything so right, and I feel like I'm kind of doing the same thing, and that helps me to feel like, you know, this is okay. It's okay if we're not there 100% of the time, and my kids know I'm there for them, and I am here for them, like physically almost all the time.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think that's something we all have a hard time with when we're working and got little ones.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, you know, you're lucky too. You have a husband. You're not doing it on your own. And
nope.
It just gives him more time to do the daddy thing when you get to go and do your thing. So it's a good thing.
Lucky him.
That's how I feel too.
So many days. See ya. Going to work now.
Have a great evening. See you in the morning. Yeah, it's really great. Well, I think you're wonderful, Tracy, and I'm so happy that you talked to us. Tell us where we can find you, where we can look up all your wonderful pictures and the studio.
You can find my work at TracyLaynePortraits.com or Tracy Layne Photography. I own both names, and I flip-flop.
Okay. Yeah, I realize I said photography, but it is portraits.
I'm both of those people.
Okay.
And my studio is brand new. It doesn't have a website yet, but you can find it on Instagram at White Space Studios, Facebook, White Space Studios. You can check me out there.
Awesome.
You can follow along with my craziness.
Yeah, Tracy does a lot of really fun, like Mommy and Me shoots, and every once in a while she does some really cool giveaways. So make sure you're following her, and you will. It's like a breath of fresh air following her Instagram feed. It's really fun.
Oh, you're so nice.
Well, it's true. Well, thank you so much for being here. I have loved hearing your story, even more of the story than I knew I was going to get to hear, and I hope everybody else is going to walk away feeling inspired and excited. And you're very relatable, so thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys, and we will catch you back on the next episode. Oh, and shout out and welcome to all of the new members on the Facebook group. Oh my goodness, you guys, somebody really, really wants $100. A few of you really want $100 because in one day we went from 82 members, I think, to 856 last I checked. That is amazing. You guys are so, so great, and I'm super stoked to meet all the moms you've added. Some of you guys are like, why am I in this group? What's this all about? But we're going to figure it out. We're going to explain it all to you. So thank you so, so much to all of you who have added your fabulous friends. I can't wait to get to know all the marvelous moms in the group. So thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.